All right, you guys, Coach Jeff here. This week, our longevity fitness movement enhancement technique is, or MAT for short, is Dowel assisted stretching. All right, so I'm going to get set up and take you through it. All right, awesome. One sec. Okay, so I'll probably demonstrate a couple of variations for each technique. I'm going to use this prop. This is a plyo box set, and I'm at 30 inches high. That's going to vary from person to person. Basically, what we're looking at is try to get about mid thigh. As you can see, it's a little bit higher for me, but I got the mobility to use this height. All right, so first off, we're going to start with our 3D breathing, okay? And if you remember correctly, remember what we like to do is get up here. Of course, I'm on the floor, but I'm going to go ahead and breathe 3 dimensions, this way, and then into the mat, or in this case, the box. Okay, so number 1 is number 2, breathing's number 1. Number 2 is front line, or the anterior stretch, or anterior myofascial line, okay? So that's the focus, is stretching myofascial lines rather than just muscle groups. All right, so with this one, I'm going to bring my leg up, and so I'm going to get a little bit of an anterior tib stretch, obviously quad hip flexor, and then I'm just going to take the dowel. So this is my right leg that's up. I'm going to take the dowel and drive my right hand back, and I'm going to look up. Kind of hard to balance, so be careful. So that's basically stretching this half of the anterior line, okay? And then you just need to switch sides. Now, doing the oblique front line, slightly different. I'm going to have my right leg up, and then I'm going to push my left arm up and back. And that's the anterior oblique line. So we're kind of stretching this line up here and across into the arm and shoulder, okay? And I'll do that one more time for you. So I kind of like to move a little bit. You can hold it, but I like to take myself through range. And this hand's assisting, it's pushing me around and back. Okay, so this is an assistance device. So then the back line, kind of like the front, we're going to split them right and left sides. So what I'm going to do here is, basically, this is going to be a balance aid, and then I'm going to tuck my chin around my back and reach. And that's emphasizing the left side, okay? Right side would look like this. Okay? Next would be the posterior oblique line. So that's basically going from glute to shoulder on the back side. The anterior was hip to shoulder, front side. So this one, I'm going to get on and kind of do a standing pigeon or a figure 4, or external hip rotation basically. And then, actually I need to bring this around. So do that. And then reach across, so this dowel is in line with my knee, and just stretch. Okay? So basically I'm stretching through this hip, through the thoracolumbar fascia or aponeurosis, lat, shoulder, maybe even some tricep. Definitely feel it through lats serratus shoulder, rear shoulder. Okay, here's what it looks like on the other side. Coming across. So I'm going to back up for a sec. When I did the rear line, I did it without the box. I'm going to go back, do the rear line with the box. I'm just going to put my leg up and stretch. Notice I tuck the chin because the rear line comes up and around. Okay, so that's the rear line with the box. It's quite a bit more stretch for me. Okay, the oblique front line, which I forgot to do as well, would be without the box, would look like this. So right leg is back, I'm stretching the hip and then rotating. You can also move, you can't see my foot, but let's move it down so you can see my foot. My foot would look like this in that stretch. So I'm stretching the anterior tib as I do this. So foot is that way, and then I stretch up and around. So those are two techniques to do the lines without a elevated surface or box, okay? And then the lateral line, I don't use a box on this one. You can also use the box to get your hand up higher. Okay, so I'm just gonna lift this up just a little bit. All right. So basically, I'm going to cross my left leg over my right. My right leg is behind. And then this is nearly there for stability. And I use the box for some extra height. That's really all it's for. And then I'm going to laterally flex my neck. So I'm stretching the lateral part of my neck and then reaching up and over. And I'm not trying to put like a real sharp bend in my spine. I want it to be a long, gradual curve. And then my hip might flare out to the side just a little bit. And then it's stretching, might feel a stretch in your hip as well. Okay, so that's your lateral line. I'll do one on this side so you can see it. Actually, I prefer the stretching side behind. A couple of things, you don't want to rotate out of the frontal plane. Just stay straight, reach over. And if that's your range of motion, just take that. You'll get better over time. All right, so that was your lateral line. You can do it without the box. I'm just gonna do it this way. So totally okay to do it without the box. This dowel, by the way, is 5 feet. It's a 5-foot dowel. Okay. All right. And then last, a couple of moves for shoulder mobility. One is I'm going to gently press into the top of the dowel and then hinge. And I'm still putting a little bit of pressure, just a little bit, really, really light pressure. And this can help center that shoulder. And then we'll come back and push out and back. That's one technique. Second technique would be just some shoulder rotations, both directions. If you can't hold the ends, you can just hold the dowel, right? So that would be some shoulder mobility techniques. I also like this one. And this gets the spine, it's an anterior and posterior oblique line at the same time. And I'm not trying to get too much here. I'm just taking where I feel a comfortable stretch, comfortable range of motion, and work those. And then last but not least is the lateral line inner thigh. because this is part of the lateral line as well. So what I'll do here is I'll put the leg up on a dowel, and then I will go forward. So then that really emphasizes this. Now you can probably do it in your, like when you're doing adductor mode on the knee, and then do it that way if you do not have a box to elevate on, or a table or whatever. Okay, so again, I want to quickly go over each one. Front line without the box. Remember, you want your toe to be that way, right? So here it is. And actually I'm incorporating the oblique line at the same time. Okay, so that's that one. And then the posterior line is this one. The posterior oblique line without a box would be like this. And then reach across. Just make sure you have something for balance. And then your lateral line. Okay, and then shoulder mobility. Oh, inner thigh. Again, inner thigh would be here. My toes are pointing up, and I'm hinging back. Okay, and then finally, you can do figure eights. And then I'll go both directions. Then I'll do some like windmill type exercises. And also lateral flexion. And then finally hip hinges with just a little bit of downward pressure into. Try to maintain good spine. I just felt my shoulder reset. All right, that is your MET, Dowel assisted stretching of the myofascial lines. All right, guys, have a great week.